Hi guys, welcome to my channel iNetwork 365 and in this video I'm going to show you how to configure your own cloud server in your home network, or else even if you want to configure in your office environment, you can use the same settings, but maybe there are some advanced configuration might be differ, but the installation and configuration steps are exactly the same. So in here, let me explain you first. Let me show you the installation steps. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to install this own cloud server in my Windows 11 computer. So I'm using my Windows 11 computer, and the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to install Hyper-V. So next I'm going to install Docker, which I should download from the internet, and the third option I'm going to install OwnCloud. So this is the software name for your cloud server, OwnCloud. And the fourth step, I'll be showing you how to create user account and sharing files. And the fifth step, I'll be showing you how to configure port forwarding. So here you need to have some knowledge about networking. So it's just a basic idea, but if you have some networking knowledge, it will be useful. And the last step, which I'll explain and show you later part of this video. So now let's start with the installation steps. So I will be starting with Hyper-V. So in order to do that, I will open Start and type Control. So from here I'm going to click on Programs, then turn Windows features on or off. So scroll down and tick this one, make sure you tick Hyper-V. So I'll expand this one and make sure this both are ticked. But if you're using Windows 10, you should make sure this one is ticked, and also there is one more option. Okay, make sure this one is also ticked, Windows Subsystem for Linux. This one is applicable only in Windows 10, but in Windows 11 it was by default, it was installed for me. But if it is not installed, make sure you tick this option also, and then click OK. Then it will start the installation. Okay, so it is asking me to restart, so I'll restart later. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open my web browser, and from here type the website called www.docker.com and press enter. So when you get into this website, make sure you click on Get Started. Scroll down and you will find an option called Docker Desktop. So if you click here, it will show like download for Windows, for Mac, then Apple chip, then after that Linux engine. So here we are going to install for Windows, so click on Windows and you click on download for Windows and click this icon over here. So since I already downloaded, I'm not going to download again. So when it is downloaded, it's saved on my downloads folder. So you can see this is the setup, which is like around 500 MB. So now right click on this setup and click Run as Administrator. And click Yes. Click OK. So now it will take some time to do the installation. So let's wait. Okay, now the installation is completed. So I click on Close and Log Out. So now I'm going to log in again. I click on Sign In. Okay, so now I successfully log into my computer, but now if I try to run this Docker, it will be showing that the Docker is not running because first I need to accept the license agreement. So let me show you first. I'll right click and Run as Administrator. Okay, you can see Docker Desktop is shutting down, so it is not running because I didn't still accept the license agreement. So it will pop up anytime now, so it will take some time. Okay, so this is the service agreement. So I accept this service agreement and click Accept. Okay, so now let me run. Right click and Run as Administrator. Okay, so now you can see it starting. It even opened the window after accepting the license agreement. So this will take some time. but the installation is successful. So I'll minimize this. So now next option is we will install OwnCloud. So for this I will go to the website OwnCloud. I'll open my Microsoft Edge. And here I'm going to type OwnCloud. So you can see OwnCloud.com. So click on this. Next, click on Get Started. Then you'll find here two options. So select on your server and click on See Installation option. Then scroll down and you will find under Docker there is something called Docker instruction. Then again scroll down and under Useful Pages you'll find the second point, Installation with Docker. And again scroll down and here you will find the command. So I will leave this down in description, but this is the way you can navigate to this Docker script. So I'll right click and copy. I'll minimize it. So now I will open CMD. I'll type CMD and I'll right click this and run as administrator. Okay, so now I'll paste the code here. Let me copy again. So if you need to change the port number, you can change the port number, but I'm going to leave the default port number, which is 8080, and I'll press enter. Okay, it's giving some error. Let me check. Okay, the Docker is still starting, so it's not started. So once it's completely started, only this program will work. So let's wait for some time. Okay, so now Docker is running. So now let's try to execute the same command. Okay, so now it is working. Okay, once the installation is completed, take this option and click Allow Access. Okay, so now let's close this, and here's the Docker. So I'll click on Skip Tutorial, and when you click on Containers and Apps, you will find the OwnCloud is installed and the port number is 8080. So if you need to access that OwnCloud, just click on this Open in Browser, and I'll open Microsoft Edge. And you can see this is the login page. So the default username is admin and password is admin. So here you can see there is an option like if you need to install the client version like a Google Drive, similar to the Google Drive, you will be installing OwnCloud client version. So you can install in any of your PC and you can access your cloud server, or else you can even install the apps like Android or iOS apps to access the cloud server. So I'm going to skip this. Okay. So this is the default page. So for example, if you need to share any files, you can click over here, the plus icon, and there is upload, or else you can directly create a folder over here or text files. So let me try to upload a file. So I'll upload installation steps and click open. And now you can see installation steps is successfully uploaded. So now let me show you how to create a user account, which is step number, let me check, okay, this is step number 4. So now you can see the default username is admin, so I will click on the icon over here and click users. So now you can see this is my admin account. So if you want to change the password, you can click this and change this password, so which I will highly recommend you to do it. And if you need to create a user account, you can see you can type the username, his email address, or else you can even create a group if you want. So by default there is admin group. So if you put him into admin group, so he'll have the privilege of admin. So I'm not going to do anything over here. So at the beginning, if you need to create a user account, so what we will do is first click on the settings over here, and we will select set password for new user. So before we set this, just note here, by default is email. So if I click this option, it will change into password. So now let me type a username, which is client1, and the password also I'm going to give the same, client1. Okay, so if you want to create a group, you can create a group. So just for this video, I'm going to create something called IT, and I'll select this, and this user will come under this group, and click create. So now you can see successfully is created and he's coming under IT group. So now if the admin, if he wants to share any files to this user, so what I will do, I'll click on the icon over here and select files. So from here, this installation steps, what I will do, I'll just click on this icon over here and I will type the username, which is client1. Okay, I'm trying. Okay, let me type IT. Okay, so it's not showing. Let me try to refresh. And again, I'm going to share. And this time I'm going to type client1. Okay, for some reason it's not showing. Let me check again. So let me copy this again, client1, and I'll go to the this icon, click files. So let me try to share again. So before I paste, let me type client. So okay, now it is coming. So I think it took some while to come. So if you want to share, you can click client, or else if you want to share to a group, you can click you can type the group name. So I'm just going to give a group name, so IT, and I'll click share. So now you can see the file is shared for this user. Okay, so if you click activities, you can see for whom it is shared. It is shared with group IT. And if you click over here, you can see there's an icon over here. So you can choose permission. That means like he can edit, he can change, and he can share. So, or else you can give an expiration date, like until when this file can be shared. So there are more additional options over here, so I'm not going to touch any of that. And if you click shared with others, you can see this is the file which is shared with others. So now let me try to log into client1. So I log out. Here I'm going to type client1, and I log in. So now you can see this file is shared by admin. So if you want to create any other file over here, you can create, so you can do more additional stuff over here. So that's all about this user account. Okay, so now I'll minimize this, and let me show you the fifth option, which is called port forwarding. So before I show you this option, first of all, you should understand that you should know what is the public IP address of your network. So your router might be having a public IP. So using this public IP only, you can access from outside to your cloud server, which you configured in your home network or else your office network. So First of all, let me try to find out the public IP address. And before that, I forget one option. First, I need to configure a private IP address for my PC. So I will go to Control Panel. And I'll click on Network and Sharing Center. So this is my Ethernet adapter, but you might be having a different network card or different network card name which is connected to the internet. So I'll click on this and click Properties, IP version 4, and here I'm going to give a static IP address which is 192.168.50, and my router IP address 192.168.10.1, and my DNS is 192.168.10.1. So let me show you this one, how you can get. So open the command prompt, type the command IP config space all, and okay, so you can see this is your network card name, Ethernet 1, which I showed you earlier. You can see over here Ethernet 1. So this is my network card name, and by default it is using 51, so I'm going to change that one to 50. And this is my default gateway, my router's IP address, and this is my DNS, which is still my router's IP address. Okay, so click on OK and OK and close. So now you can see no network access, but you will get the access. So now you can see it's changed. So let's double check. Let me try to access the internet. Okay, so now internet access is successful. So now if you want to access from outside, first of all you should know what is your public IP address connected to your router. So open your Google and type what is my IP, and you will get a website called whatismyip.com. So click on this, and this is the IP address which my router is using for public, which is 176.202.88.66. So I'll copy this and let me try to access from outside. I'm going to use the same PC to access. Okay, so if I try to access, you can see it's unreachable. But if I give my private IP address, which is 192.168.10.50, you can see that I can access my own cloud. So now in order to do this, we are going to configure something called port forwarding. So let me show you my network diagram. So this is my PC which is 10.50 and is connected to my router which I named as R2, router 2, and it is using 192.168.10.1, which you saw earlier. But this router is connected to a gateway. So it might differ in your home network. Sometimes you might have internet directly connected to one router, but in my home network I have two routers connected. So the second router is 192.168.100.1. You can see it's different, right? Here is 10.1 and here's 100.1, and this interface is 205, 100.205. Then after this connected to the internet. So this idea might be useful for you even if you're going to configure in your office network, because sometime in your office network you might be having a router, and then second you might be having a firewall. So the concept is same, so you should do the configuration in both routers, or else if you have a firewall you should do the configuration in your router and your firewall as well. So now first let me navigate to this router 10.1. So I'll skip. And also please keep in mind your router settings might be different from router to router. So since I'm using Orbi router, so the settings is like this. So I'll click on advanced over here. Okay, so here you can see the first router's IP address which is connected to this router, and this router IP address which is used to connect to this router is 100.205. So now what we're going to do first, we're going to configure port forwarding over here. So I'm going to go advanced and I'll click on port forwarding, and here I'm going to click add custom services. Like I mentioned earlier, in each router they have a different settings, so it might not be same in your router. Okay, so here I'm going to give a service name. You can give any name, and protocol, it's always TCP for this type of connections. The next, the external port, so it's 8080, which we used for our own cloud. And you can see internal is also 8080, and here I'm going to enter my internal IP address, which is my own cloud server, which is 10.50. Click apply. So once you click apply, so next step, we will navigate to the other router, the R1. Let me show you the diagram. So now I'm going to access this router, and I'm going to do the same settings. I'm going to type admin. So I'm going to click on forward rules, and here it's showing a different name. Earlier you saw port forwarding, but it's showing here port mapping. So both are same actually. So I click on port mapping. Okay, so here I'll click new, and I will click on application. I'll select application type. So since it's a web-based application, so you'll be selecting web server HTTP. So I'll click HTTP, and mapping name, so you can give any name on cloud, and internal host. Okay, so this is a tricky part. So earlier what I did in port forwarding, I gave the IP address of the own cloud server, but from here what you're going to do, you are going to give the IP address of this interface of this router, which is 100.205. So if request comes from the port 8080, it will forward here, and this one, it knows where to forward that request, so it will forward it to 10.50. So here I'm going to give the IP address of that one, which is 100.205, and here I'm going to leave just default, and here I'm going to type internal port number 8080, and here this one I'll avoid, it's not necessary, and I'll click apply. Okay, so if you need to check if your port is working or not, so there is one more website which you should type port check. I forget the website name, but let's check. Okay, the first one, port checker. So here you can see it automatically selected your public IP address. So here I'm going to type the port number 8080, and let's see if it is success. But before I type that one, let me try with 80. So it is showing open. Okay, I have port 80 open, 808. Okay, it's open, and let's try 8080. Okay, so the port is open. So now what I'm going to do, so now I'm trying to access this one, 8080, and now you can see I have successfully accessed using my public IP address. So since I don't have another computer, so I could show you, but I tried with my phone and my work PC, so I was able to access successfully without any problem. So so you saw earlier when I tried with public IP, it was not working. So now it is working. So but one more problem, like in your home network, your IP address will change like I think every week or every month if you're using a broadband or fiber connection. So then each time you need to come and type a different IP address to access your own cloud, which you will forget. So to prevent this problem, what we're going to do, we're going to install something called DuckDNS. So we're going to use a host name to access the own cloud instead of the IP address. So I'm going to type here duckdns.org. Okay. So here make sure you log into one of this. So here I already use Gmail and I log into this DuckDNS. So I click on this. Okay, so now successfully log in to the DuckDNS, and here there's a token number which I'm going to blur in this video for security reason. So you should make sure you copy this token number also, and here you can give a subdomain name, the domain name which you're going to access your own cloud. So which I already gave, iNetwork, 365, but you can give any name over here, for example OwnCloud, and you can click add domain. Okay, it's already taken, but if you want to give cloud 365, yeah, you see now I have two domain, cloud 365 and iNetwork 365, but I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to delete this, so I will use only iNetwork 365. Okay, so now you need to make sure you install this DuckDNS. So click on install over here and select Windows GUI. Okay, so select the domain name over here. So it's asking you to select the domain name. So I'll select the domain name, scroll down, and on step number 1 click this link. Scroll down again and you will find an option called Windows, and you can select any of this, but I'm going to select zip. Close the ad. Okay, once this is downloaded, just open this folder, right click and extract. So now right click and select run as administrator to install and click yes. Click next, 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 create a shortcut, next, and install. Finish. So still it's not done because if I try to double click this install program, it will say that I need Java. So if I click OK, it will take me to the java.com, and if I click agree and start download, so it will download now. So it is like 81 MB file. So open that folder and right click and run as administrator. Click yes. Click install. Okay, so now the installation is completed. So now let me open again DuckDNS. Let me close all this program. So I'll open this, double click, and you can see here the duck. So it is running now. So if I right click this and select DuckDNS, so now I should type the domain name. So it is always iNetwork 365 and the token. So now let's go up, click DNS. Okay, so I need to copy this token and I'll paste over here and click OK. Okay, it is giving an error. Let me try again. Okay, there was a space, that's why it gave an error. So let me click OK, and now it is successful. So now let me try to access using the domain name. So I'm going to type iNetwork 365.duckdns.org. So now you can see successfully I'm accessing using the domain name. So I can type example client 1, and I can access. So now you can see the file which I already saved here, it is there, and if you need to upload any files, you can upload. And so now you can see now successfully you can access from outside the network, even using by your domain name. So even if the IP address change, your public IP address change, still you will not have any problem, because the DuckDNS will be updating the IP address to this host name. So now I can access using inetwork365.dns.org successfully. So that's all about this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, please subscribe and like and share my video. Thank you.